Hi, welcome to the Blueshirts corner. So the Rangers took on the Washington Capitals and lost 5-2 yesterday. I was gonna do this podcast a little earlier, but I needed time to cool down, I guess. I mean, this team really let me down. I felt like we were going into that third period, just trailing by a goal, and we had all the momentum and a chance to come back in that game. Let me just break down the game so everybody could get a better idea of just how bad this game. So the Rangers wind up coming out. I felt like we had momentum. We wind up scoring a goal as Chris Kreider gets this past Braden Holtby. It was a nice deflection from the top of the crease coming off of a shot from Ryan McDonough. And I'm thinking we're good. I'm thinking, okay, we're up by a goal. But however, about 8 minutes after that, as the Capitals are on the power play, of course, Alexander Ovechkin, out of all people, this is the one thing that I felt like we should have done was stay out of the penalty box. So Dylan McIlrath is up against Alexander Ovechkin, which he wound up just overplaying on Ovechkin a slight bit, as Ovechkin corrals his puck and he just fires this pass on Ronta that I felt like Lundqvist could have made that save if he was in net. Of course, Alain Vigneault wants to play the backup goaltender versus the best team in the entire league. I don't know. I mean, he's making some questionable decisions of late. We barely got past the Philadelphia Flyers, and here we are, treading in hot water as we're alternating wins and losses. We're looking at a team that we're about 3 losses away from a wild card spot. If we keep on alternating wins and losses, we need to put together a little bit of a winning streak here. We need to have consecutive wins. I mean, we haven't won back-to-back games since November. This is so awful in a sense that I feel like there's gonna be a trade, and I'm worried. Guys like JT Miller, after he had a bad turnover where it was just right on Evgeny Kuznetsov's stick, where Justin Williams gets that goal. I mean, that third period just wound up being pretty bad. The moment that the Washington Capitals tied this game, and then we're going into the second period, and the way that we gave up 2 goals there, like the first one, Marcus Johansson, who's right in front of the net, not even being defended at all. He's right there, right at the doorstep as Nicholas Backstrom sets him up. And then about a minute after that, you have Justin Williams, who deflects this puck pass onto Ronta. The Capitals are up by 2 goals. But then Chris Kreider, he manages to get this past Braden Holtby. Like, this goal was so filthy that Braden Holtby left the game due to quote-unquote dehydration. I mean, the fact that Chris Kreider scores the second goal of the game and we're heading into that third period down by a goal, I'm thinking with all the momentum, Braden Holtby leaves the game. So now they have their backup goaltender, Philip Grubauer, in net. So I'm thinking, okay, we go into the third period. We're facing their backup goaltender. We have all the chance to come back now. And then JT Miller makes a costly mistake there as he hands his puck right over to Evgeny Kuznetsov, which it was just an easy pass to Justin Williams, and that puck was behind Antti Ranta. And then at that point, I was just, when they were up 4-2, I was like, this is bad. Justin Williams has 2 goals. I thought that Chris Kreider was going to score a hat trick, and you know what happens? We pull the goaltender. Then Justin Williams with the empty net scores a hat trick. All the hats are coming onto the ice, and I'm basically throwing my hat at the TV in frustration. I was just, at that point, I don't know, we got beat. Like, the backup goaltender shut the door on us when we had all the momentum going into that third period. We had all the chances in the world to come back, and we make mistakes, cost us. We're alternating wins and losses. We lost this one. It only means that I'm going to hope we beat the Vancouver Canucks, because if we lose versus the Vancouver Canucks, that's about it. That's when I think I'm going to have to really blow up at that point, where I feel like this team is driving me nuts. And I'll be honest, Alain Vigneault, because he's making stupid decisions. He's over here scratching guys that should be playing. He's over here overcommitting to certain guys that they haven't played good at all this season, and he's basing it on things they've done in the past. Like, here's a good example: the fact that Dan Boyle could remain in the lineup. But you know what? Dan Boyle being signed over Anton Strawman, that was Vigneault's doing right there. He wanted a nice defenseman that he knew from the Western Conference, and there you go. Here you go. We got this guy that's like 40 years old, and he's playing like he's 40 years old. And then we got guys like Brian Boyle, who all he wanted was a bigger role. We could have used him on the third line at this point, but no. Vigneault didn't want to give him a bigger role in the team. He wanted a guy like Brian Boyle to stay on the fourth line. So he goes out and he gets a guy like Tanner Glass. This is when I just have to lose my mind, is when all these mistakes that we made in the past couple of years, trading away certain guys, signing certain guys, like the fact that we have a guy like Martin St. Louis over Ryan Callahan, this is Alain Vigneault's doing right here. He wanted to go out and get certain guys, and guess what? It blew up in our face. We lost certain players. We got guys that are retiring. We got a guy like Dan Boyle who's going to probably retire after this season, or his contract's up and we're not going to re-sign him and we're going to lose him anyway, when we could add a nice, fresh, younger defenseman like Anton Strawman, who's doing great work with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm upset at this point because I feel like we need to pick up a few players, and who do we really have that we could trade away? We can't get rid of the people that are causing a lot of problems here. We can't get rid of a guy like Dan Girardi. We can't get rid of a guy like Mark Stahl. We can't get rid of Dan Boyle. I mean, nobody's going to want these guys. They haven't either played up to par this season, or they're done. But anyway, the point is that we gotta find a way to come back and regenerate this team. I feel like a guy like Jeff Gorton, he needs to really find some way to pull a rabbit out of the hat. And that means not trading away Yandel. It means finding a way to get at least two guys that could jumpstart this team for a guy like Rick Nash. This team is really, like, if we don't figure it out quick, there's no way we're winning a cup. Anyway, I'm just going to put this loss behind us, hope that we could go into Tuesday's game and win it. I mean, tomorrow, I'm just really hoping we win a game tomorrow. I really do. We can't afford to lose any more games, and this team is really driving me nuts. I don't know. Just keeping everybody posted. Remember, let's go Rangers.